Welcome to Start Dakota, a show by Startup Sioux Falls where we dispel misconceptions about starting a business, uncover unique challenges faced by founders, highlight today's problem solvers, and build a stronger startup community for tomorrow. This project is powered by the SBA. Now, here's your host, Brienne Maynor.
Hello and welcome back to Start Dakota. I'm your host, Brienne Maynor with Startup Sioux Falls, and I am here today with an old friend, Brad Edwards, and your company is Para UX, correct?
Yep.
All right, I nailed it.
Yep.
Brad, thank you for being here. And I guess to start, I just want to hear in 30 seconds or less, or I'll give you a little bit more time. Can you introduce yourself, who you're about, and just a little bit about your business?
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so awesome.
It's kind of weird, right?
I don't do this very often. So Brad grew up, born and raised Sioux Falls, brought the family back, and wife, 2 kids, started a couple of years ago, quit my corporate job and actually went out on my own. Started a user experience design firm, which I'd been doing for so long, and working with some great people. Finally went out on my own, and no, I'm never looking back. I don't think I can have a job again. So
no more jobs for Brad.
It's been awesome. Yeah, and so we'll get into like the new stuff.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the before, so tell me a little bit, give me like a snapshot of your career. Like, how did you get to Para UX? What was your background?
We don't have enough time for that.
What was your education? What's your educational background? What were you interested in? What did you study?
So bounced around. Computer science was something that just intrigued me.
Yeah.
And kept, learning more and more about how that works. And then about 19, this is I'm just like aging myself, but like.
It's okay, I'm the same age as you.
97, 98, websites for all the rage. And started tinkering with a couple of friends and building websites for their bands. And this is when I was at Mankato State.
Nice.
And I kind of got hooked. Like, oh my gosh, you can publish something.
Did they pay you for this?
And then it's oh no.
Of course they didn't.
No. And I, built a couple websites and realized like this isn't permanent. This is like a living thing. This is something that you can continue to build on top of. Is pretty awesome. So I intrigued me, and I just kind of never looked back after that. Like that's what I wanted to do was build things.
Yeah.
Build digital things, and the first things were websites.
Yes.
Really ugly websites.
Super ugly.
Yeah.
Do you ever go on the Wayback Machine?
I do. I can't find some of this stuff. I'd love to.
You're from the early days.
Couldn't even screenshot on Windows 95 or whatever it was. Yeah.
What's an early project that you're really proud of?
Oh my gosh.
If you could go back and go, you know what? That wasn't that bad for the time.
For the time, I don't even. Yeah, I guess the band website was pretty killer.
Yeah.
So early in my career too. This is like in my 20s. When we talk about how much of a punk I was in my 20s, but I actually landed a job at Lake Area Tech up in Watertown, and I was their media director, quote unquote. I think they just made a label for me, but I made their first website or revamped their initial website into something new. And I mean, I'm a I was super proud of that because it was just so vast, but it was being a cowboy and like launching something, and then after that, then the teachers and the users and the everybody kind of came and it should do this, it should function this way, and it should and that was really the fun part.
Yeah,
it was like I launched something that I could care for.
Yeah,
and so that was kind of my entry point into it. And then from there, we took them online, like a little hybrid program at first, and it was their first online courses that we got to build like their learning management system.
Right.
So those are my like notable early things I remember.
Yeah.
The rest of it was just building cool stuff for friends and whatever.
Absolutely. But how did you gain the skill set that you need? Because that wasn't necessarily something you could go to school for back then, right? So how did you educate yourself?
Work. just work.
Yeah. Just keep tinkering kind of thing.
It was a tinkering thing. I remember, even just building computers and building I mean, it was just, constantly tinkering. And my actual education is in networking. So routers and switches and Cisco technologies, that was and I realized I don't want to be network administrator. I want to build things that people can use.
Where do you think that comes from? What were you like as a kid?
Well, I don't know.
Did you tinker? Curious, right?
Yeah. Just constantly.
You're a skater kid,
finding
right?
a new thing. Yeah, skate. The independence of, I was in football and some of the team sports, those types of things. Yeah. But that was short lived. Really took hold once I found skating and individual sport.
Because I remember being around that scene and you guys messing with your decks, you'd get out your Allen wrenches and, so tinkering, literally tinkering with your,
absolutely,
your equipment.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's really cool.
It was, and now, you get to go to Skate City with your 7-year-old and just rip around. You're
I'd love to see.
Oh, it was awesome.
I'd love to revisit that with you. So, let's see. So, from Lake Area Tech, then some corporate jobs along the way. Where did you go? How did you get?
Yeah, well, Pulse and Marketing in Sioux Falls brought me from Watertown to Sioux Falls.
Okay. So back.
And so I got into the agency space, and you really get to work with some talented folks.
Oh yeah.
I mean, agencies are just that's their product.
And that one in particular, talent. They've always kind of focused on ag, right?
Yep, agriculture was big.
That's fascinating as well.
Yeah, and I had I'm a city boy, so it was a learning experience for sure. But I attribute finding my wife at Pulse and Marketing, so she was an account manager there. So so it was a great way to just learn the scene down in Sioux Falls, and this is quite a while ago. But that was a starter job, I think, to the VVI. So I moved from, and I was at VVI for a time.
Yep.
And they were switching. It was a really cool point in their history. So they were switching from just video to building the websites and other digital products.
Yeah.
So they moved to the interactive side of things, and they brought me on to kind of lead that charge. So that was a really fun time to learn. It was a ton of work, didn't have kids, so you could, you're just constantly tinkering and building new things. Got to hire a handful of super talented folks to help engineer and do the back end work. And then a couple that were just wonderful digital designers.
Yeah.
And,
learn from each other.
So grow that a little bit.
Yep.
Moved from there to, Sanford's profile weight management solution.
Yep.
So I had the opportunity to build the app that's connected to the scales, and the user experience around things that people physically have in their homes and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating, and I had an opportunity to be at the front end of that group there.
What a worldview you've had! Just a myriad of experience.
Yeah.
Too. And I'm imagining that you've left the organizations that you've worked with better than where they were when they started.
That's the hope.
You're a get.
Yeah.
It seems like you're a get.
Well, that's the hope is, I don't leave them with a bag of,
Right.
Beep. I don't leave them, up a creek or oh my gosh, she's not here. So now, we're lost or something. But I feel like there was a good outro on those things. They had a good team in place for tech, and it became more of a support role. They were maturing and okay, find some more stuff to tinker with, and ended up leading me into corporate innovation for a time. So I was at the Good Samaritan Society.
Yep.
I was talking earlier, Good Sam got bought by Sanford. And so the Vortex brought me back to the Innovation Center at Sanford. So I was there, and corporate innovation is so fun in the way that you just get to you get to build, play, and you really kind of act as an entrepreneur.
Right.
But you're in it you're in a vortex.
Yeah.
You're in a system that's got
it
guides
doesn't sound
and
fun
rules
to me.
and,
So like corporate and innovation don't necessarily go hand in hand,
It's a
right? Like
rub.
they almost seem like they clash agast each
Yeah.
other. So tell me about that. Like
So
how do you innovate within a corporation, Brad?
a super smart person that I met along the way, and I won't give her name, but
I bet I know who it is.
she said, yeah, corporate innovation is like pushing a wet noodle up a hill.
Sure.
And you feel it. You know, all the learns, the lessons, and we'll get to the co-starter stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, I'm learning how to build a business.
Right.
I get to work with the legal team that's there to go and see what's trademarkable, if there's word marks or logo marks, like those types of things that I just never had. I didn't even know that were a part of the process.
Right.
I got to tinker with and be a part of. So, yeah, it was like lessons learned, right? I'm always kind of eyes wide open, learn more.
Right.
And it was really fun to learn alongside some smart folks.
So when did you start getting the bug for entrepreneurship, and when did you?
Never not had it, I don't think. I just you know, at
that
time,
entrepreneurship.
This is a couple years ago. At that time, I think the Good Sam gig landed as we had our first kid.
Okay.
You know, and then you're like,
it's real now.
Yeah, I'm not living for myself anymore, right? And so you get this. You know, I needed the job. I think I really needed to have that income to get get acclimated to being a new parent. That was huge. And we, my wife and I, and the second kid in, and whoa, I mean, it's like, it's a lot. I mean, the people that, God bless the people that can have like 4 kids, 5 kids.
That's not me either.
But
you're living the dream.
Our kids are wonderful.
Yeah.
And it got to a point. So I'd always been working like on the side.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a constant tinkerer. So I'll, build a website for this organization or whatever. And I'm doing that alongside of my corporate gig.
Doing some pro bono stuff.
Yeah. And maybe some pro bono, but also, like contracts where I'm making, some money, some additional money too. And always had that kind of in the pipeline, that moonlighting. Right. And so then just had a couple of folks that I work with in that way come to me and say, we got a big project and we want you to be a part of it. And we'd love to, hit the ground running. And what was it? Right before COVID hit?
Right before COVID? Okay. I was wondering where that fell into play.
Yeah, no, it was 2021 because I'm 2 years in. But the Jan 1, 2021 was, kind of the beginning of a couple of larger projects that folks wanted. And at that time, I'm like, there's no better time, right?
Yeah.
I've got some runway. I've got an opportunity. I feel like, with what's there, I won't have to do business development for a little bit. I won't have to rely on going and catching the new fish.
Right.
So that was awesome. Just having that, it was just unexpected that.
Yeah. So a big project lured you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It wasn't like, I'm just going to quit and try this.
A couple. It was like.
You already kind of were planting the seeds.
It kept ringing in my ears.
That's
like,
interesting.
Okay, it's not just one. It's like 2 or 3 of them that'll all come to me and be like, hey, I want to write you into this budget. I want to do this this new thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're turning into something that can be sustainable. And that's when I had the opportunity. You sit down with your wife, do the family.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. How was that conversation? And she works at a bank, so that's a good thing, right? Like she's got that financial acumen.
It was, it was not to be taken lightly. I mean, I was like, hey, I'd like to, move on from this, paycheck and like voluntarily, lose a paycheck, like corporate paycheck. So, it wasn't an easy conversation, but I think the reality of it all, my wife just knows she's behind me 110%. So she knows, she's like, you're always going to have this bug. You're always going to have this itch and need to go do these things. Yeah. So, if the opportunity you can, like no better time. So
oh my goodness.
It all worked out. And that was a couple years ago. And like I said, I'd be a terrible employee at any other place at this point.
Do not hire this man. Do not.
I just love working for myself, working with good people.
Yeah.
I get to choose who I work with, and that's so wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit more about some of the resources that you gleaned on as you were going through this process of transition and where you're headed. I'm very curious, like what the future holds for Brad Edwards. So we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Amos, the community coordinator at Startup Sioux Falls, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Start Dakota is hosted by Startup Sioux Falls. We provide resources to make starting a business easier, including events, programs, mentorship, ecosystem navigation, and an actual space. If you have ever aspired to launch something of your own or run a business currently, we want you to join our community. Start with Startup Sioux Falls at startupsiouxfalls.com/start. We're excited to connect with you. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. Now let's get back to the show.
All right. Welcome back to Start Dakota. We're here talking with Brad Edwards of Para UX, and a man of many hats, I would say, in his career. So we've talked about where you've been and a little bit of where you're going. But I'm curious. So you told you sat down with your wife. You said, I'm going to do this. I'm a tinkerer. I want to pursue my passions. And she agreed to some degree, like she knows.
Absolutely.
But then what? I know you had this big deal coming, this client, but now you're running a business. Yeah. So what resources did you lean on to help you with operating the business? Because I assume some of that was intimidating. You're not everything, right?
Yeah. And there are things that you find that you're not good at, or you're definitely not passionate about, and yet still need to be done.
Yes, and sometimes those cost money.
Yeah.
So what did you do? Who did you lean on?
I've had a lot of good fortune in the folks that I work with. So the gentleman that does our taxes here in town, just tremendous. Super sharp. Helped us, as we were just married, and I had the W-2s and stuff, keeping it simple. And then moving into this. And it's like, okay, well, I've got the LLC in place. I got all the things in place. And I know, and I have had to have that for a long time. But, what's next, and how do I, ensure that I'm smart about, local and federal taxes and those types of things. And, he's like, oh, well, let's get you in an S corp. I'll lock you into an S corp. I'll do all the paperwork and move you into the whatever. So it's like I had a lot of awesome folks like just help guide me in that way, and then just tick the boxes and move you in the right place.
Awesome.
And then educate you too, right?
Right.
You got to ask the right questions. That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
And then finding really amazing tools along the way. So I don't use QuickBooks, and probably never will. Found a little organization at the time, Wave is the name of it.
Wave, okay.
And all they did was invoicing. And so like a couple, 3-4 years ago, when I needed to invoice my, stuff, my moonlighting work or whatever, like I was using them, and they were wonderful, best, slickest interface. And I'm a sucker for good user interfaces. Of
course you are. Yep.
And so, they were, just super pivotal, but in just sending out invoices and getting paid. But then they became more like they evolved as a business. And so I've also had the good fortune of just being able to ride the wave. Oh my gosh, I did not mean to do that.
Right?
But that's like to be able to ride in the retooling of their platform. So
I'm assuming you've had influence over them too. Like, have you given them feedback along the way?
They're a pretty big outfit, but
just curious, because I thought you were going to say, and now they're a client of mine.
Yeah, right.
Maybe someday.
Yeah. They spun up a what you could. You remember Mint?
Yeah, I do remember Mint.
Like where you could connect your bank accounts and then it would keep track of like how you're spending your money.
Yeah.
So
Depressing.
they had something. I know, like, find out. Whoa, I spend a lot on entertainment.
On Target.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's Target, right? It's a different deal. But I started using them for more and more of that, and I connected it to my business account. Like, I'd have a local business account, those types of things. It was really great. Well, then they started offering their own business account. Like, you could literally go get a business account from them.
Awesome.
And they connected to a bank. So, like, they evolved into something that needed to be more. And I've never taken advantage of this because I've had the good fortune of some folks like a CPA to help me out. But you can hire CPAs and those types. Like, it's
fintech.
It's pretty incredible
what
they built and how they built it.
Yeah.
They built it from like what you needed to now, what you now know you need, right? Like, they kind of grown with me.
Awesome.
So that's been really great, because then you just say, okay, dial in last year's P&L, dial in the tax report, go to my CPA, and it's done.
Perfect.
And so that's really been helpful. So
interesting.
Yeah, advice is find a killer app.
Yeah.
Like Wave. Maybe QuickBooks does it. I don't know. I've not really gone down that path.
Sure.
But yeah, you got to find a good app and really get good at using it.
Not surprising that you're looking to software and apps to help you through the process, but people, networks, communities, I'm assuming are a part of it as well.
Yeah.
So how did you get connected to the startup community? And I know that also you're involved in a couple of different segments of the community where, like, NFTs were kind of blowing up for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Which is nothing to, like, it's fascinating, right? We've got to stay on top of technology. AI is ever prevalent around us. And I think it's so cool that you're one of those early adopters that I look up to, where I'm like, if I have a question, I'm gonna go to Brad and ask his opinion. Yeah. So how did you get connected, and what is the community like here? Do we have tech talent here, and where are they? Where are they hiding, Brad?
I know, aren't they? Though?
I feel like they're always hiding.
I feel the same way. But the incoming, like AI, right? It's having a moment for sure with GPT-4. The NFTs had their moment, a year and a half ago when things were pumping, people were making millions.
Yeah.
At those times, I didn't ride the pump, but like, oh my gosh, it's like this aha moment too. I have to investigate that. I have to know enough about that so that I know that I either could leverage it in the future or use it or begin to, tinker, or, I could put it on a shelf for a little bit until somebody needs it. Like, definitely part of my DNA is like, I gotta know. So did a little research, definitely went down the rabbit hole and like learning more about the NFT game and game. Don't kid yourself. Like, that's a game. But also, I think eventually the underlying technology that offers, the NFTs, which are...
That's what's fascinating, right?
That is the most fascinating piece. And the way that I can send digital funds from one thing to another using crypto or NFTs, and the value of, those types of things. I mean, the value of $1, right? Like, I can send it in seconds from me to anywhere in the world. Right. And can't do that with, so... There is a great potential in what impact that will have on us in the future.
It was mind-blowing to me, Brad, that there were so many people in our community that were dabbling in it, like a whole meetup group, right? That you were all trading it. Some of you flipped it for some serious cash. Yeah. I'm like, how does that, I mean, it's because of where we're at with technology, right? Like, we all have access. Yeah. So of course it's going to infiltrate into our community. But I've always looked at Sioux Falls as like we're not early adopters. We come kind of on the tail end of things sometimes. Yeah. How do we become more innovative as a community? And how, like, we can't be afraid of these things, right? Like, I remember the Today Show clip. I think it was Amy that shared it with me, where they're talking about it in the 90s. What is internet?
Oh, right, right.
And we just sound like idiots, and we're like afraid of it. And then it never ages well, right? Where AI is going to be a thing. NFT technology is going to infiltrate into our day-to-day lives. How do we become less afraid? How do we embrace it? Because you clearly do.
Be aware, right? I mean, I think a lot, like, not the awareness that you have to like go in and dive in and understand, at a deeper level,
right?
But just know what it is. Know that in a few seconds, I could generate a handful of really well-written articles to pump my SEO on my website. And people are doing it every single day. The majority of the articles that you might be, clickbaited into on your social media because you're just mindlessly doing this because you need a break from your mind. You're doing that. You're not thinking. And so there it is. And that's, I think, the reality we already live in. People don't know it. And as I was tinkering again with the tools that I use and how people are using AI to build smart things, this gentleman built a beautiful app that allows you to kick out as many SEO really well written articles, but then the tooling will change, right? Like the Google algorithm is going to figure out like, okay, these aren't really well written because GPT-4 wrote it or whatever. I tinkered a lot and created some art, NFTs and those types of things leveraging AI. So that was a fun, experiment to go in and understand the impact these tools are going to have. I just got to get my hands on it.
So I clearly have like my own impression of you in that, like, I feel like a Brad Edwards could go to Silicon Valley today and thrive, and you stay here in Sioux Falls and do what you do, which is a huge, like, asset to this community. We need more minds like yours here. It's talked about brain drain. So when you applied for Co-Starters, I got excited. I was like, this is the kind of guy that we want in our network, that we want influencing other entrepreneurs in whatever industry they're in. Like, you're a guy that embraces this stuff in a way that is going to have a ripple effect on the people around him. So what has your experience in the Co-Starters Accelerator program, which is, I don't want to say it's beneath you. It's not. Like, everybody needs to go back and like re-experience it. But talk to me about that experience, and what have you learned through the experience so far?
Well, I'm blushing. Like, oh my gosh.
It's true.
I came to Co-Starters because I knew I needed the focus and the accountability it offers. In that I've got 100 ideas a week. But what are you doing with the ideas?
Right.
What are you carrying forward? And I had this in the back of my mind, this really great idea, and it kept beating me up, right? It's like when I made the leap into the service company, Para UX, the user experience company that I run. Now I've got this itch for all the folks I've worked with, these nonprofits I've worked with over the years, and how all of them have the same issues. Like, same problems to solve, and we're solving them, but we're doing it. I'm doing this in a very unique way for each. There's no boilerplate for each of them, and there's no simple way to do that. And so I've had this itch over this last year or so to get to the other side of that and to get to really what they need, which is what brought me to Co-Starters, because I knew, okay, you've got a great idea, but you gotta freaking do it. You gotta get after it. You gotta work on it. And you gotta see it through.
Cool.
And Co-Starters is the place that I feel is like you're around a bunch of folks that the community, or the 14 that are in 14, I think, that are in my cohort. It's the accountability to them that I have. And for one another to lift each other up, but also, be frank with one another, or call them out. Like, have you done that? Are you moving forward with that? Have you talked to new customers? Have you, and that's really, to me, the biggest value that I have in it. And I get to meet all these really amazing people doing totally different stuff. I mean, there's like jewelry and copywriting, and there's like Airbnbs. Like it's just it's a pretty eclectic group of folks that are doing some really crazy stuff, and so just being a part of the community, being in it.
Yeah.
And the
which you've never left. Again, you've never left.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. You're a homegrown guy.
Yeah.
And you're making this community better, and we appreciate it.
And I hope that, I can continue to, bring back to that team. They might not be tech businesses. I'm the only software business in.
Yep.
But they're not tech, but they all need it to a certain degree, and to help them navigate that. I feel like I'm charged with that, and I hold myself accountable. Like, help them if they have those questions. If they have, what can I do to bring back that value?
So when we come back, I want to talk about the future. Cool. And also I would love to hear a little bit more about your wants and needs for the future of our entrepreneurial ecosystem. So big questions, but we'll take a break first. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Business Minute, a recurring segment powered by the SBA, where we'll share business facts and resources available to entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. Small Business Administration. This is Sadie Sweer, Executive Director of SD CEO East Women's Business Center. Did you know, despite losing 9.1 million jobs in the first 2 quarters of 2020, small business growth rebounded swiftly following the COVID-19 recession? In the 4 quarters following, small businesses have gained 5.5 million jobs, making up for 60% of the decline during the early pandemic. Small businesses have generated 12.9 million net new jobs over the past 25 years, accounting for 2 out of every 3 jobs added to the economy. Interested in starting a business or already own one? There are many free resources available. One of those resources is the South Dakota Small Business Development Center, a University of South Dakota Beacom School of Business outreach program. The SDSBDC serves small businesses in the state of South Dakota by assisting with business planning, operational improvement, and product or market development. The SDSBDC provides one-on-one, confidential, no-cost business advising on a statewide basis with offices in Aberdeen, Pierre, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Watertown, and Yankton. Learn more about SDSBDC at sdbusinesshelp.com.
Okay, welcome back to Start Dakota. We are talking with Brad Edwards of Para UX, and we have been through your journey to date, and I am curious to hear what the future holds. So where do you see yourself in 6 months from now, and what's the long game for Brad? Like, when will you know that you've made it, you're satisfied, or are you never satisfied?
Oh... Never satisfied.
Good.
Well, we were, talking during the break, and it's, just being able to play and being able to tinker. And I don't think I'll ever know what I want to be when I grow up. Yeah. But I'm finding now, I'm here, is that the forever tinker, the one that gets, I want to continue to play with these things and see what comes of it. Where I see the business is right now, I'm a service business. So I work in consultation with these folks to solve problems. Every single organization that I work with has got a unique set of problems and typically a unique solution. Yep. And that is super fun to build alongside, because it's like, oh my gosh, I get to help you do more good in the world. And so it's just it's really an exciting service to provide these folks, because I get to design new things, design user experiences that help ease the burdens of their customers or their own, if it's an internal app or something. And so that's just awesome. But there's only so much time in a day, right? So I want to help more. I want to spread my wings more and build things that are smart enough so that if I'm not, I don't spend every waking hour on doing this work, but
are you thinking about scaling the business as well? Like, are you talking about hiring underneath? Or are you going to be a solo shop?
I haven't. I mean, well, I've probably was over my skis and the amount of work that I had in front of me, and so then that was like, oh my gosh, do I hire?
Yeah.
I actually have some connections with some folks that use the same platforms to build what I'm building, and they help fill the need.
Okay.
It's really a tough niche to find.
Right.
And so I lean on some folks, like if it's a really technical solution, like I'm a designer, I can only go so deep, so I find the back end development and or real chops that I might need to get the technical underpinnings figured out. But then what is the overall user experience, and then I'm helping project manager do that.
Do you look local, or are you looking
right now
wherever?
it's unfortunately
Do
not
we have
local. I would love to see and find these local folks, and actually the Startup Sioux Falls is putting together an engineering forum.
We are.
Yeah. So I'm
maybe
pumped.
they'll come out of the woodwork,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I'm pumped.
If you're listening, join us.
Well, I'm excited for, I think Mike Vetter's kicking it off.
Yeah.
And then Amos asked me to potentially speak at one. So coming up. So
Absolutely.
I'm really excited about that as just connecting the nerds, right? I mean, like you got to connect like the technical folks and the people that love building the things, the digital things.
Yes.
We gotta find each other and pull each other out of the woodwork, because typically we're also the people that are just fine sitting in the office and not coming out.
So here's a question, and this kind of leads to my kind of final question, but Startup Sioux Falls is trying to build a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem. That's right for our corner of the world, right? Like every ecosystem is a little bit different based on the talent you have around you, the industry around you, where you're from. What in your mind needs to happen to move the needle forward? What do you need? And what do you see the next generation of tech-minded folks like yourself, what do they need to thrive in this community and stay, plant their roots here like you have?
Yeah. Connectedness, like community, and getting connected with others that are better at the thing that you might not be. I mean, you can't do it alone. I mean, I'm finding myself, constantly reaching out. It's like, if I don't know enough about this, I'm gonna find, a resource that can. But I'm always seeking online or finding out like, oh yeah, I got this guy in Canada and this guy in Kiev. I got this guy where, it was just like finding some folks that are based off of the type of talent that you need, not necessarily, but gosh, if they were like face to face and you can set them down and work with them on a project and hand in hand and there's a lot of magic to that. And so to have the local network being able to pull them out of the woodwork, or these talents out of the woodwork, and understand and just have this like, hey, raise your hand. Are you good at this? Are you interested in this even?
Yeah. Like, planting seeds early on. And that's like, what do you wish you would have had early on in your career? Even like, I think about us, we went to high school together, right?
Yeah.
Did we ever talk about entrepreneurship in high school? I don't remember that ever even being an option.
No.
So to plant those seeds early, like we think about our kids and giving them different opportunities.
Yeah.
Now they're surrounded by us, these entrepreneurial people. Hopefully that changes or gives them more options.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know what your parents, like if they were like long-term careers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So my
pensions
my dad just
stability.
Yep.
Which good for them. They did
just retired this year from a job he had held for 45 years or more.
Right.
Like, whoa.
You can't really do that anymore.
So we never had that. Had to find our way. And I think the beating your head against the wall and the kicking and screaming and all the work that you had to do to get there.
And then they look at us and they get heart attacks. They're like, what are you doing? Why are you leaving this job? We're just like all over the map taking risks. And I'm sure it's just unsettling to that generation to some degree.
Yeah. They're also, your parents are nice. Like, okay, that's nice. Yeah. Where's the money coming from? Like,
well, from you, mom and dad, right?
Like, can I move back into your basement? Is that going to work?
Oh, Lord. Brad, I hope that the next time I talk to you, you weren't telling me that you're living in your parents' basement.
Just for sure.
I doubt it. I doubt it. But when we come back, we're just going to have a little bit of fun.
All right.
Like fun? Do you like fun, Brad?
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's been awesome.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jeff Hayward with Startup Sioux Falls. Welcome back to the Co-Starters Challenge, a recurring segment where we'll provide some tips for launching or growing your startup, as well as an action you can take called fieldwork. I've got a quick question for you. How do you set your price for your product or service? Price matters. Charging too little and you won't be sustainable. Too much and you'll lack customers. But how do you know? Remember what we've said before. You need to know your customer, the problem they face, the solution you offer, and that your benefit has value to them. And you need to know what your customer is willing to pay and how much they can afford to pay, which could be different. And the only way to know for sure is to ask your customers. This month, get out there and talk to 5 potential or existing customers. Meet face-to-face or virtually so you can pick up on any nonverbal cues. Ask them what they would value your product or service at, as well as what they're willing to pay. Make notes of what you're hearing on your canvas. That's all for this episode. Good luck on your fieldwork, and I'll see you next month.
Okay, we're back, and we're just going to do a lightning round real quick. I want to learn a little bit more about Brad, and sometimes it just takes a couple of simple questions to get an opinion, right?
All right.
So, and I know you're going to have an opinion about this first one, but do you prefer Google Workspace or Outlook?
Both. Outlook's come a long ways. Google kind of had it for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm deeply ingrained in the Google workspace.
Isn't it Microsoft that's acquiring some of the Chat GPT software?
Oh, yeah.
Did I just see that?
Oh, yeah. Well, my latest one was like, they're already putting ads in the Chat GPT suggestions. I'm like, imagine that. Yeah. No.
Cool. Cool.
Great. It's a great user experience. Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee in the mornings, tea in the evenings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well balanced.
Yeah, the non-caffeinated. My wife and I love nice hot tea.
What's your favorite tea?
We're getting old and stuff.
Yeah, me too.
The like mint tea.
Okay.
It's like that's like sleepy time tea is what they call it typically, but that's love it. Too good. Too good. Yeah.
Okay. Hoodie or blazer?
What I got going on here?
I feel like you're a hybrid. Hybrid?
I've got like depends on the situation.
Okay.
Yeah. I just about wore a blazer here, and then my wife told me, No way.
Good call. Thanks, Jordan. You look great. Beer or wine?
Also depend. Well, that depends on time of year. Right? Wine in the winter, beer in the summer, kind of thing. Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
WhatsApp or Facebook?
What's WhatsApp?
It's a.
No,
You know what it is. I was going to say, do I have to tell you what it is?
Keeping up with them or just like, doesn't Facebook own WhatsApp?
I think so.
It's all the same.
So maybe it's all just the same. What a dumb question.
I go to where the people go. Like if you're on WhatsApp or you're on Telegram or you're on Discord or whatever, and that's where we want to communicate. Most of those tools are really killer. Like they're really nice.
Absolutely.
So use the one that
works for you.
Yeah, that the client
spoken
wants
like a true user experience professional.
I'm impartial.
Summer or winter?
Summer. After this winter, who wouldn't say summer?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh,
it's the worst.
Yeah, definitely not the 9-month winters.
No,
we don't need that business.
No, agreed. Snackies. Let's talk about snackies. Salty food or sweet food? Which do you prefer?
I'm like on a steady stream of like pretzels and peanut butter kind of guy.
So a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Have you ever had those, the little pretzel bites? You can buy them at Costco in the big jar.
Oh yeah.
Those are so good.
Oh yeah.
I can hammer through those pretty fast.
It's on the bottom shelf. The kids are,
It's all about what they eat, right? You're a goldfish guy too, I bet.
Like, oh boy, I'll have to clean the plates after the kids don't eat all the food.
Oh man. Well, now I'm hungry. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been great, Brian.
Yes. We live in the same town. So
who'd have thought? We grew up,
I know.
Yeah, from high school to here.
Two warriors just making their way through the world, right? Thanks, teachers.
I think we made it.
Who's your favorite teacher from Washington High School? Do you remember? We were in a class together.
The football teacher, Mark
Murrin. The guy that does leaps and twirls and who shouldn't be.
He was like, it's okay to be weird.
Yeah.
You figured that out.
Yep.
And in high school, you were just like too cool to be weird.
Yep.
Yeah,
I also really like Jeff Herbert is still one of my favorites, and we were in that class together.
Oh yeah.
Was it English/history or something? It was like a combined class. But yeah, Mr. Herbert. All right. Well, we could talk forever, but we better cut this off. So I just have to, I thank you so much for sharing today. But more than that, like, again, planting your roots in a community that needs leaders like you, so thank you for not only grinding to get your own business off the ground, but you're giving back to other folks, and that's invaluable. Yeah. So you rock. I can't wait to see where you go from here. We're here for you. Anybody listening, this guy is awesome. Like, connect with him. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for Start Dakota. Visit our website at startupsiouxfalls.com to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you enjoyed the show, please tell a friend to rate our show on iTunes. If you are a founder and aspiring entrepreneur, you can get started by visiting our website at startupsiouxfalls.com/start. Start Dakota is made possible by funding from the U.S. Small Business Administration. With this funding, Startup Sioux Falls is piloting an expanded version of its Co-Starters Business Accelerator program and providing additional resources to support underserved founders. Start with Startup Sioux Falls.